The wild man who challenged a powerful king, became his best friend, helped him transform into a better ruler, and made him set on a journey in search for the secret of immortality. Enkidu is one of the most important characters in the Epic of Gilgamesh, the world's oldest epic. But what's his story? How come an uncivilized wild man could befriend a civilized king? Watch this video till the end to find out. Enkidu was a legendary hero in ancient Mesopotamian mythology and an important character in the Epic of Gilgamesh. He is said to be the oldest literary representation of the wild man, a recurrent motif in artistic representations in Mesopotamia and in ancient Near East literature. He was the best friend of Gilgamesh, the hero of the world's oldest epic. Their exploits were written in many Sumerian poems and as well as in the epic. What's the Epic of Gilgamesh? Epic of Gilgamesh is an epic poem which tells the tale of Gilgamesh and his companion Enkidu. It is regarded as the earliest surviving notable literature and the second oldest religious text, after the Egyptian pyramid texts. The Akkadians used the 5 independent poems about Gilgamesh as the source material to create a combined epic called the Epic of Gilgamesh. The earliest surviving copy of this epic dates back to the 18th century BC. Is Enkidu the protagonist of this epic? No, Gilgamesh is. But he played a major role in this epic. The influence of Enkidu on Gilgamesh's life led to a huge change in his character and his view of life. The story goes like this. Gilgamesh, a young king of the city of Uruk, was arrogant and abused his people. Every time a marriage is conducted between a man and a woman, Gilgamesh was the one who got to spend time with the woman first before the husband himself. The people became angry and started complaining to the gods. Hearing their prayers, the gods, specifically the goddess Aruru, created Enkidu to help the young king to become a better ruler. Enkidu was created as a fully grown man. His body was covered with shaggy hair and he clothed himself in animal skin. He roamed with the herds and grazed and drank water from the river with the wild beasts. His behavior was like that of an animal, but he had superhuman strength, speed, and intelligence. On the other hand, Gilgamesh also had superhuman strength, since he was technically a demigod. His father was a king named Lugalbanda, and his mother was Nin-sun, the wise cow goddess. One day, a hunter saw Enkidu destroying the traps he had prepared for the animals. The hunter was despondent because he was unable to feed his family, so he informed Gilgamesh about this issue and asked the king to send him help. Gilgamesh sent Shamhat, a priestess or a sacred prostitute, to seduce Enkidu and teach him to be a civilized man. They spent the next 6 days and nights together and Enkidu finally learned to be a civilized man. After 6 days, Enkidu tried to return to the gazelles, but they ran from him in fear. Then Shamhat told him that he was now a civilized person and, therefore, he could not return to living with the wild beasts. She persuades him to go live in the city of Uruk, where Gilgamesh rules. Meanwhile, in Uruk, Gilgamesh has 2 dreams prophesying the arrival of his enemy. Later, Enkidu and the priestess arrive in Uruk and Enkidu desires to challenge the mighty Gilgamesh to a wrestling match. Gilgamesh happily accepted the challenge. In some other version, Enkidu stops Gilgamesh from meeting a newlywed woman, which leads to a fight between them. The 2 men fought brutally and tried to prove that each one was the strongest and best fighter, but neither man could best the other. Eventually, their batteries got drained and they became tired. Finally, they both came to the conclusion that each had met his match and they immediately became best friends. Gilgamesh's mother even adopted Enkidu as her son. But Enkidu started missing his wild life. Seeing this, Gilgamesh comes up with an adventure to the cedar forest to kill Humbaba. But Enkidu says that he knew about the forest while he was a wild being and that it's a dangerous expedition. Why was it so dangerous? Who's Humbaba? Humbaba was a giant with a face with folds that are said to resemble human intestines. He guarded the sacred cedar grove from the mortals who were forbidden to enter it. Gilgamesh and Enkidu wanted to solidify their places in history and to kill the monster Humbaba. So they entered the cedar forest after a long journey and fought Humbaba. Humbaba then accused Enkidu of being a betrayer of the beasts and threatened Gilgamesh that he would disembowel him and feed his flesh to the birds. But the duo managed to defeat and capture Humbaba with the help of the sun god Shamash, the protector of the Uruk dynasty. Death scared Humbaba, so he pleaded with Gilgamesh to show mercy. He was even ready to be his slave and to cut the sacred trees for him. Gilgamesh pities him, but Enkidu convinces Gilgamesh that Humbaba's death will place their names in history forever. Knowing Gilgamesh has made up his mind,
He made up his mind 10 minutes ago.
Humbaba curses both of them and the pair decapitate his head. Then the heroes return home with the cedar trees and the head of Humbaba. Witnessing Gilgamesh's heroic acts, the goddess Ishtar grew a desire for him and offered him to be his wife in exchange for wealth and fame. Now, which mortal would ever turn down an offer like that? No one would, right? But Gilgamesh did. Yeah, the man who had the habit of sleeping with every newlywed woman in the city before their husbands themselves. How is this possible? Well, the arrival of Enkidu in Gilgamesh's life made him more just, wise and less arrogant. He recalled all the misadventures the goddess' previous loves had, which also made him turn down the offer. Furious, Ishtar went to Anu, her father and the supreme god in Mesopotamian mythology, and asked him to send the bull of heaven to kill Gilgamesh and Enkidu. If he does not do that, she threats to scream so loud that the dead will devour the living. Anu, in fear, gave her the bull of heaven and she released the bull in Uruk, which led to many human and animal casualties. The heroes came to the rescue and they fought the bull. Although the bull of heaven is incredibly powerful, they both managed to kill it. Hearing Ishtar's cry, Enkidu ridicules the goddess by throwing a bull's leg at her head. The whole city celebrated their victory. Unfortunately, this was the last adventure they had shared together. Yeah, Enkidu's death was near. He had a dream where the gods decide that the heroes must die, since they have killed Humbaba and the bull of heaven. Shamash tries to change their decision, but that doesn't do any help and Enkidu is sentenced to death by the gods. In anger, Enkidu cursed the door he built with the wood he got from the cedar forest and Shamhat, the priestess, for changing his wild life, which had led to all these events and his upcoming death. However, he then repents and blesses her. Sick and bedridden for 12 days, Enkidu asked Gilgamesh not to forget him. After that, he finally died. His death broke Gilgamesh so much that he started questioning the meaning of life and realized that he would also one day meet the same fate of Enkidu. Not wanting to die, Gilgamesh embarked on a journey in search of immortality. There are also other Sumerian poems which tell us more adventures of Gilgamesh and Enkidu, such as them defeating King Aga of Kish, Enkidu getting stuck in the netherworld, and the gods telling Gilgamesh that he will be reunited with Enkidu and his family in the afterlife while Gilgamesh was at his deathbed. He then finally died. There's a theory that Gilgamesh and Enkidu might have been more than just friends, since the epic says that Gilgamesh loved him like a woman or something like that, but we have no evidence to say for sure. Their relationship reminds me of Alexander the Great and Hephaestion's relationship, and also the relationship of Achilles and Patroclus. Each of them lost their best friend, which made them deeply saddened, especially Alexander, who was overwhelmed with grief and soon died. What are your thoughts about Enkidu and Gilgamesh? Leave them in the comments below. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, tap the thumbs up icon and share this video with your friends and family. Hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell icon. I will see you again in a new video with a new topic to explain. Thanks for watching.